Well, in just a few hours now, it's going to be back to class for tens of thousands of kids who go to Albuquerque public schools.
Yes, and you know that tragic school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, still fresh on the minds of many, including administrators at APS. And, you know, we really wanted to see what was going to be different, if anything, on this first day back. They tell us that nothing will be different at first, but administrators say that they will be sitting down with local law enforcement very soon.
Okay, now as for now, Albuquerque Public Schools says that safety plans for all schools will stay the same. The district also says it does not have any immediate plans to step up security or add officers on any of its campuses throughout town that don't have them already. The district spokeswoman, Monica Armenta, told us that school administrators, along with APS's chief of police, are going to sit down very soon with Albuquerque's police chief to talk about what they could do to possibly improve security at the schools. Now, if you remember, right before the winter break, officer presence was stepped up, but that was just after the shooting in Connecticut, mainly to calm the parents' fears here. Now, although that is not expected today, administrators in the district want you to know that they say your kids are safe going to school here.
Student safety's always been our #1 priority, so on a regular basis we debrief and we review, we practice our site safety plans, and that will continue to happen throughout 2013 and beyond.
Now, APS says the meeting between them and APD will likely happen in the next few weeks. Also, APD or APS says that they currently have about 180 officers to cover campuses throughout the district. 56 of them are armed, so we'll be following this for you. Well, 1 week from today, state legislators will be back at work at the Roundhouse.
And one thing they'll be talking about is banning sex offenders from using Facebook, Twitter, and other social media websites. Now, Representative Nate Gentry, who's from here in Albuquerque, is going to introduce a bill on this, and his goal, he says, is to protect kids from these sex offenders.
There have been numerous instances throughout the country where convicted sex offenders have lured children into very unsafe situations using social media.
Mr. Gentry's bill would make it a misdemeanor for any registered sex offender to use social media websites that kids can get on as well, which is most of them, and would affect sex offenders, even ones who did not hurt kids. Well, it is the second day of jury selection in the trial of the man police call Albuquerque's Arroyo Molester. They say that Genaro Sandoval here attacked a number of boys in and around the Arroyos in the Northeast Heights. This was from 2003 to 2005. Then in 2003, investigators say Sandoval lured an 11-year-old under this bridge and molested him. 4 years later, police say they matched DNA from the boy's clothes to Sandoval. Then last week, you might remember, a judge ruled that because this specific case is based on DNA, it should be tried separately from the others.
A downtown bar is slapped with a fine for violating the Americans with Disabilities Act, according to the settlement between Maloneys on 4th and Central and the feds. Back in August, the bartender and customers there are accused of making fun of a woman with multiple sclerosis, telling her and her service dog to eat outside. Now, Maloneys has agreed to pay a $2,500 fine and post a sign saying customers with animal service animals are welcome. Now, Maloneys must also pay a non-discrimination policy and disabled customers and properly train its employees. The parents of an 8-year-old believed to have been mauled to death by a pack of dogs are now facing tribal charges. Thomas J. Henio was found dead on an Indian reservation near Gallup the day after Christmas. His parents, who police say were drunk at the time, told authorities that a pack of 9 dogs had killed him. By the way, police say that the parents are now charged with child endangerment. The FBI in Gallup is now investigating.
2 men charged with killing a UNM student and dumping his body in a cave near Grant say they didn't do it. Bryce Franklin and Clifford Bearden here pled not guilty and are accused of shooting Fernando Enriquez, this young man, back on October 31st and dumping his body here in the cave known as the Double Sink. It's in El Malpais National Monument. Enriquez's body wasn't found until a month later. Investigators say it looks like Enriquez owed Franklin and Bearden money.
A Las Cruces tree trimmer who was attacked by a swarm of bees last summer is now in critical condition, but this time it was because he was shocked by a power line. Yesterday, 52-year-old Craig Benavides was cutting branches at a home when the incident happened. Authorities say a 13,000-volt power line shocked him.
You gotta hope that guy's luck turns around.
Yes. This morning, we know the name of the person found dead in a house fire in the Northeast Heights over the weekend. APD says that the body is that of 84-year-old Juanita Adams. They say her body was so badly burnt it was difficult to identify. Arson investigators were called in to try and figure out what caused the fire early Saturday on Lexington and Wantabo. Neighbors say Adams lived there with her 53-year-old son and that there had been a lot of suspicious activity at the house. In fact, the city has red tagged it for code violations and criminal activity in the past.